Uh, Microphone check 1 2 1 2. This is the Blaze the Lion podcast. I am your host, Blaze the Lion, Blaze Goldsmith, Johnny Blaze, and a plethora of other names that people randomly call me. This is the Blaze the Lion podcast. This is a bonus episode. All right. So technically, this is episode 70. So let's just go with that. And every month we have a theme. So for April, our theme is book author. So each week we're highlighting various book authors to share their story, share their message, share their book, and just, as always, drop gems on us, right? Indeed. So for tonight, I have someone who I've known for about a decade. Well, no, not really.
Oh, like wow, you have? Oh, really? How's
She's
that?
like, excuse me. No, but it's someone that I've seen on social media. And a lot of her interviews, they piqued my interest because it was different. It wasn't the same agenda, the same brainwash story that the news puts out. And I'm not to get too deep, but it just drew my attention. I was like, all right, let me pay attention. Let me tune in a little bit and let me see exactly. And I've just seen I've seen the guests that she's had on, and the book, and just the conversation that for me showed growth. And we're not perfect. There's no one perfect, but to see growth and to see someone who has been through the storm and has a journey and is willing to share how they went from here to there, that is always intriguing to me, and that's powerful. So it was definitely a honor of mine to finally be able to have this guest on the show. So without any further ado, I tend to mess up these long-winded introductions, so I'm trying to keep it shorter for the credits and all that. But we have none other than Elisabeth Hoekstra. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much, Blaze. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad we finally got on. There was a little bit of scheduling mix-up, so sorry about that. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome, awesome. So I do my little intro, but I always tell my guests, feel free, for those who may not know you, share a little bit regarding yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so many layers. I've probably lived about 25 lives so far. So yeah, it all started basically, I mean, I was adopted, so that was a huge major incident in my life. Incident, I call it, but really it was a blessing that I look at now as a blessing. So I was adopted from Korea and raised in Lansing, Michigan. And I started basically modeling at a very young age, at around 17 in Detroit, Michigan. So that kind of jumped off my entertainment career. So I was a
Right.
model and an actress for a really long time. I'm actually still my photographer that I've been with for, I don't know, a decade and a half plus actually is filming a movie right now. So I'm one of the characters in his movies, just off love, because
Yeah.
I'm not into it anymore. But that was my main career for a while. Entertainment world was really crazy. I had a lot of great but crazy experiences in that realm. So that was a lot of fun. Been
Mm.
on major magazines and movies and TV shows. And then basically that life, I had to put it away. It was getting too crazy for me. I wanted a little bit more stability.
Mm.
So I ended up moving and I went back to school and I ended up getting my culinary degree. And I specialize in baking and pastry. So I got my certification in baking and pastry. And I was a chef
Mm.
for 5 6 years, which was a lot of fun. It was fun creating. I wouldn't necessarily say the industry was fun. It was very actually abusive. That industry was super crazy. You
Mm.
work until you die, basically.
Mm.
And I realized that wasn't for me. So then I left that industry, became a real estate agent, really loved the entrepreneurship and the business aspect of that whole thing. So I built a team of agents. I had about 30 agents at one time. and it was super successful. We got hired by a specific party in the state of Michigan, and I actually broke records for getting the most amount of offices in the shortest period of time in history for that specific group of people. So that kind of jumped me off into a different realm of, networking and entrepreneurship. So I dove a little bit into philanthropy work and really just trying to help Detroit City. I had found out that there were a lot of issues that were being swept under the rug, and it really breaks my heart because I am not the type of person to know about something and then sit back and let it happen. And once I find something out that I can do, I can change something, then I try as hard as I possibly can until I make that change, which is why I don't watch the news. So I found out about all these issues. So I went hard for probably about a year and a half, really trying to rebuild Detroit, public schools, because I found out that there's just a lot of negative, they're toxic environments for those kids. And they have a very hard chance at succeeding with having to deal with those toxic environments all the time. So anyways, so I did that for a little while. And then I jumped into a mental health type job. It was a wellness center, which really dove me into biohacking, which is my brand. It's what I do. I'm a biohacker, which is basically optimizing my mind, body, soul using different things, different technologies, or just different everything to change my environment, my outer environment, also my inner environment. So I became the president of that mental health place pretty quickly, just because I have a ton of connections through every single industry that I've ever been in. So building businesses is kind of been my strong suit for the past probably about 6 years. And so worked there for a while, really enjoyed learning about all the different holistic modalities that are out there. I got to experience a ton of really great stuff. And then finally, now I am with Forbidden Knowledge Inc., which is a conglomerate of a business. I mean, do everything there. I mean, it's a TV platform, an e-commerce, music, book publishing, which is where I published my book through. And yeah, so I'm trying to just be the best human I can be and share my story as many times as I possibly can to try to inspire others to know that, you go through things sometimes, but it's not a death sentence. Trauma is not a death sentence. So it's trauma or trauma. So you can really get out of it and learn to live your best life. So
I have so many questions. Oh man, I have so many, but I love it. I love it. Okay. So breathe. All right. So let's start with the first industry that you spoke of. I think this was the first one, and the entertainment industry. And I'm in the entertainment industry as well. Prior to the podcast, I've been an artist. I've been hip hop and reggae artist for a little bit. And isn't it sad that we love the art, right? The art is amazing. We're passionate about the art. But in a lot of those industries, the business is just so toxic, and it's draining, and it turns you off. And I love creating music. I love creating art. But I just don't like the industry. I don't like the business and the fakeness and the industry talk. And then you go into the spiritual side of the entertainment industry. It's it's a lot. So I'll start with this regarding the entertainment industry.
Yes.
Is there a myth, or is there something you could share that the average Joe wouldn't necessarily know
about the entertainment business? Well, this is
without putting anybody on blast?
Well, yeah, no, I won't do that. But so, let me see. You know what? That industry for me, it was before I really became conscious. So I was just out here reacting and just partying basically.
Mm.
That industry was one big party for me. It was just drugs, alcohol, and let's get effed up and then go to work the next day. That was pretty much it. So, I mean, it was a really great industry because I learned a ton and I got to meet a ton of people. But
Yeah.
honestly, it's very toxic, like you said. A lot of stuff gets swept under the rug. Drugs
Mm.
are rampant. You know, drugs and alcohol are rampant in the entertainment industry. And
Yeah.
it does not surprise me because in order to have that type of attention, and let's talk about, celebrities in general, they have massive amounts of attention all the time, zero privacy. They
Hmm.
can never really get a moment to themselves. Everything they're doing is being judged. They have to deal with trolls all day, every day. So you have to think about that amount of stress and trauma on one person. So people use things to self-soothe, whether
Yeah.
that be drugs, alcohol, sex, shopping, whatever it may be, food.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that in the entertainment business, a lot of resources to self-soothe are drugs and alcohol because it's just, I mean, it's hard. It's a hard industry. You're always being judged, and it's all about the outer external you. It's not really about who you are as a person inside. It's
Hmm.
more about how do you look? Are you cute enough to be in this music video? Are you skinny enough to have that role? So I mean, it's very vain. It's a very vain industry too. So I had fun. I had a lot of fun in it, but it was full of drama and trauma.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I see that. I've seen celebrities, I've seen artists, and there are quite a few. So I'm kind of like you, where so I'm Jamaican. I'm not sure what your excuse is for having all these different careers and different different journeys,
You know.
but um, I'm also a personal trainer, right? So I've been in the fitness industry for about 16 years.
Mhm.
And I've taught classes forever. And quite a few of people who I've taught, uh, now you see them on TV. They have their own show on MTV or BNT, and they got songs with Justin Bieber, with Rick Ross, and all of that. And you see that when they were in my class, you see how they were then, and then you see them now, and everyone should grow,
Mhm.
right? So no judgment on growth. Everyone should grow, but you can tell, or at least I can tell, that the industry kind of put their hands on them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and now they're super outspoken, and just a lot of stuff has shifted. And I know
Yeah.
it's a lot of pressure because you're getting, not in every case, but in most cases, you're getting paid a lot, or you're getting a lot of the exposure.
Yeah.
So either one or both. So that pressure is extremely high.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for people to have to deal with. And also you have to think about it. If you are a celebrity, then things get boring because everything that you want, you can have basically
Hmm.
anything. So where is the resistance? It's hard to I don't know. I can't imagine. I really can't imagine what that's like. I've had a little taste of certain things and I need a little resistance. I like a little resistance. It creates growth in people.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
I'll deal with resistance. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but that journey, right? Seeing all that is part of what made you you,
Oh yeah.
right? So we're not like enlightened from birth. It's that journey going through the toxicness.
Yes.
So fast forward a little bit, and then I want to go back again. Fast
Mhm.
forward to biohacking, because I've heard that term
Yes.
in different settings. I've heard that term in gyms,
Hmm.
and there was a gym I went to in Weston.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of the name right now. And they use the term biohacking, and they do a lot
Mm.
of therapy. They do the cryo, and they do
Yes, I love it.
heat, the infrared, and then all these things. So for those who are not familiar with that term exactly, um, what is biohacking, and what do you do with it? I guess is the question.
So biohacking is basically, it's do it yourself, figure out yourself how to optimize your physical body, how to optimize your mind and your spirituality basically. So it's using techniques, tools, supplements. I mean, you could use anything from a technology that costs over 100 grand to a supplement you may take. It's
Mm,
really just trying to figure out what works best for your own biology, basically. And then it's optimizing that. So, for me, it was biohacking was a journey that took me to awareness, to consciousness, to being able to manifest things like that. I needed the extra help basically to bring me out of these stress states that I was in. I didn't even really realize that I was in a stress state, which is, what probably 90% of American people right now are dealing with.
mm,
Everyone's walking around in fight or flight, which is, it's a response from your autonomic nervous system, basically. And it's to protect our bodies, but it has when you're stuck in a stress state, it's awful for your physiology. It's really, really not good. I
yeah.
mean, when you're in fight or flight, the blood from your gut basically rushes to your peripherals, so you can get off and run. You're
Mhm,
trying, there's a threat there. So, a lion's chasing you, you got to get up and book it.
mhm,
So a lot of people are stuck in this state because of the busy world that we live in and the stressful states that we're causing ourselves, basically, because all stress states, I mean, we really cause it ourselves. The only way that someone can make you stressed out is you, right?
mm,
So a lot of people, are stuck in these states. And for me, I was stuck in fight or flight for a long time. I would kind of, balance from fight or flight all the way to freeze. So it was bad both ways for me.
mm,
And people would tell me, just feel better, just quit that, just stop negative thoughts and just do this. I'm like, I can't. As much as I wanted to feel better and be better and act better, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. And no one was helping me to figure out, okay, well, how can I do that? So I took it upon myself and I really looked into biohacking. And as soon as I started biohacking, I figured out ways to really bring my nervous system back into homeostasis so I could act like a real person and have conscious thought process between stimulus and response. I have that space now. I don't react to everything I'm going through. I
yeah.
take conscious thought process and I, really internalize things before I move anywhere, before I speak anything. And biohacking really helped me to be like that, to get there. So
Mm.
mhm,
I like that. I like that. There was I had realized for me, I've all since the age of 12, I've been a monster. I've been always hungry. From 12 years old, I would eat a large brunch,
mhm.
and then an hour and a half later, Mom, I'm starving. How are you starving? We just went to brunch. From age 12. That's how it's been. But I had to realize that in that fight or flight, right? In that mode and in those negative thoughts, that I was burdening my liver
Mhm.
tremendously. And I learned even simple techniques like, yes, you're really hungry and you want to race through and finish that meal. But how about in the midst of that meal, you just stop?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I used to have the Apple Watch and had that app where it would tell you to breathe,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? So every so often it was just say, breathe for a minute.
Mhm.
And I would set it. And while I'm eating, I would pause for a minute and just deep breaths.
Mhm.
Inhale, exhale. And you get to actually enjoy the food. And your liver isn't so stressed out because you're just throwing all this grease and all these calories down your body and it
Right.
has to react. You know what I mean? So it doesn't
Well,
even have to be so, you know, so complex. It can even be from simple to complex.
right. Well, a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people don't consciously eat, which is really horrible for you. Like I just stated a couple minutes ago, a lot of people, especially in America, are walking around in fight or flight. And
Mhm.
literally, when you're in fight or flight and your physiology and your body is stuck in that stress response, your digestive system completely shuts down.
Hmm.
So the food that you're taking in, you're not even digesting it correctly. You're not absorbing the minerals, the nutrients from the food, and it's really just it's not doing your body justice. So
Say
people
that
should
again. Say that again. Oh,
people people yeah, they need to consciously eat these days. I mean, and you should not even be in a negative mind frame or even speak negatively over your food, because literally everything is energetic in this dimension that we're in. So if your vibe is off and you're eating like that, then you're not digesting, you're not absorbing, it's not doing your body justice whatsoever. So, especially before you put a piece of food in your mouth, make sure you're in a positive mood and you're speaking positively over that food. Because, it really, really matters when it comes to digestion. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like that. And we are so used to being in that fight or flight because think of driving a car, right? And we're so used to rushing, right? So we're going through cars and we are using our horn at cars that are driving slow. And I've caught myself where I say, wait a minute, I'm not even late.
Mhm.
Why the hell am I rushing? Why
Yeah.
am I getting mad at people?
Yeah.
I'm hella early right now. I should just relax
Hmm.
and just
Hmm.
go with the flow. But we're just so used to, we gotta
It's
go,
a
we gotta
trauma
go.
response. That's a trauma response. It's a lot of people are just really sped up. The pandemic was very hard for people because it made people sit down, slow down for a second, and really address themselves. A lot of people's self-soothing mechanism is to stay busy so they don't ever have to realize what's going on up here. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a lot.
Self-soothing. And don't we do that from babies, right? With the pacifier,
Mhm.
right? We're always looking for something to adults,
Mhm.
right? Whether it's the sex addiction, whether it's the alcohol, whether it's the drugs, whether it's staying busy, whether
Mhm.
it's blaming everybody else.
Yeah, right. Victim mentality, right? Hmm.
Yep. Yep. So I applaud you, one, for healing, for starting that journey of healing, because there's so much power. And you would hear this phrase all the time. um I'm from Brooklyn, so this is how I am, or I'm this way, and a certain man can't handle me, or a certain woman can't deal with me, then that's them. And I had to realize, like, no, bozo. Like, you're damaged, right? You're fighting all that, you're carrying rather all that trauma, and that's why you have these views like, this is how I am. Like, no, there should be growth,
Mhm.
right, along this journey.
Mhm.
So yeah. But I
Yeah.
feel like your book touches on some of this. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It touches on all of it. On all of it. Yeah. It does.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. Do I have one? Oh yeah. Let me grab it real quick so I can show you
Awesome.
guys the
Awesome.
cover. Okay. Yes. Yes. The recipe to elevated consciousness. There you go.
uh
Yes, it does. It touches on all of that, though. All of that, everything. It really, I mean, the first half is my life story. So it shows, where I came from and what I've been through. And I've been in a ton of negative situations. I've put myself in a ton of negative situations due to trauma and me not realizing that I was attracting these type of negative things. And the last half of the book is 46 different techniques and tools to help raise your consciousness, to help get out of these stress states, these negative thought patterns, and really start manifesting your best life. So,
mm. Can we get personal?
yes, of course, I'm open. I'm an
Woo. All
open
right. All right.
book.
So
Yes.
share with us one of the chains, one of the bondages, one of the traumas that you first began the process of breaking, of renewing, of rewiring, because people feel like, oh, okay, well, it all sounds good. I just gotta change my mindset, and I just gotta sit in a meditation, and and it's like, no, it's a journey out here.
It's it's a real it's a bit more. A lot of people, meditation, it helps a lot of people, but honestly, to be able to change your physiology, you really do need some extra help, other than just yourself. I mean, there are yogis and everything, and people that they're able to meditate and things just, wash away and they're able to whatever. But that doesn't really address your cellular trauma, right? It doesn't really address, a lot of the stuff going on with your physical body. So let me see. One of the first traumas that I experienced was my adoption. But, throughout my life, I didn't know that that was a trauma because my parents that adopted me were great. I looked at them and they were my parents. I didn't know consciously anything else. So I didn't think that that was a major trauma for me until I started doing this healing work and realizing, wow, that was a huge trauma for me. It was the reason I have these massive issues and these abandonment issues I've dealt with in my whole life. And I really started this whole life process not in the best mind frame, because after I did some healing work, I actually did, I regressed back into my mother's womb and I experienced my birth over. So I came out of my mother's womb and I realized that the doctors took me right away. I wasn't able to see her, touch her. I never got held. And the next 3 months of my life was really, I was just being monitored, basically. There was not a lot of physical touch back then. They didn't know how important it is to, embrace the babies and really feel and touch the babies. There are statistics now. They've done research and studies where babies will die if you don't touch them. They'll end up dying if they get zero physical touch within their young stages. They will literally just die. So it's very, very, very massively important to, touch your baby, to look at your baby, to hold your baby. When I did that regression work, I actually felt the emotions that I was going through as a child, as a baby. And all I wanted to do was see my mother's eyes and for her to embrace me and look at me and just hold me. That's all I wanted. So for me to really do that again, it healed something within myself. It was a painful experience for me to go through, but it connected conscious memory to that traumatic event for me. So now I can relate and kind of process and see why I'm the way I am. I was confused for a long time, these abandonment issues. Why should I have abandonment issues? I've never been abandoned, but I was abandoned the minute that I was alive. So it took me the healing work to really realize that, though, and process that. So, that was a powerful one right there. It did a lot for me. So,
yeah. And abandonment issues can come in different forms, right? And you don't realize, right? So as you said, so it took time for you to realize that that's what it was. So you may not even realize why you necessarily have trust issues or why you're angry or why you're carrying all this. You just figure that's just me, and that's
right. Well, here's a mistake that I had made in a previous relationship I was in. My ex could pull this massive amount of anger out of me like I had never seen before. Throughout my life, I realize now I was in freeze, which is the other side of fight or flight. It's when you're completely disassociated. You go somewhere else, basically. You're just a shell, you're not really there. And it's a way that the brain protects itself, basically, because, when things are too traumatic, when you're little, the brain will automatically go into freeze. So you don't have to live through that situation. So, that's where repressed memories come in. When you're a kid, it's a lot, your brain does all this stuff to protect you. So it's not negative. It just is. Right. But, so, it's, throughout my life, I would go, I have these bouts of being in fight or flight and wanting to fight everybody, but then going into deep freeze and disassociate and just not even realize, what was going on around me, which put me in terrible situations, which I just didn't even care. I was looking at policemen with these huge guns in my face, like, do it, take me to jail. I don't care. All this crazy stuff, but that's the brain in freeze. I didn't think my fear center was completely shut down. I had zero fear. Like, do it then, So it's all the way that the brain behaves that causes us to act in these ways. That's why everybody should get their brain checked out. Get a SPECT scan with Dr. Amen. He's an amazing, amazing doctor. And a SPECT scan is basically a functional scan to show you what your brain is currently doing and where the blood flow is going. And if you don't have blood flow in certain places, so you can actually help your brain to be able to act more optimally, so you can act more optimally, basically. Yeah.
Okay, see? Hope you all are taking notes. Right? See, don't be emailing me and DMing me like, okay, what did she say again? Should be writing this down. These are gems right here.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, definitely. And sometimes I look at bullies, right? I go back to my childhood. And first off, I would love to know what the percentage is of how much people have childhood trauma, because I feel like it's very high.
I think, to be honest, I just looked at a stat for women. I believe it was 1 in 3 women were sexually abused as a child. I think it might be higher than that, though. I think it might have been in 40 percentile. It's not a good number. It's not a good number. And honestly, no one can go through this life unscathed of trauma, period. Going through your mother's womb as a child is trauma to your brain, to your head. You cannot go through this life unscathed of trauma. And whether that trauma be big or small, it does not matter. It's how your body reacts to the situation that happened. I could be over here watching my best friend get shot, watching him bleed out. That's a huge trauma. But you could be over there and you could just have, I don't know, a rock thrown at your shoulder. Ouch, that really hurt. That could be affecting you on the same level as it's affecting me over here. It doesn't matter. It's how your body reacts. There's no big or small trauma. So, I mean, everybody goes through trauma in life. Everybody. Yeah. I don't care if you think that you've gotten the most golden, amazing life. You still got some trauma that you got to deal with. So,
yeah. Ooh, absolutely. And this is so timely because for the Blaze the Line podcast in May's theme is mental health.
I love it.
So yeah, man. So a lot of what you're saying is mind, body, and spirit, right? It's all related. So, whew, oh man. All right. So I know you broke down different journeys in your life, from the modeling to the real estate.
Yeah.
To all of this. So let's go a little bit more current again and speak about forbidden knowledge. Share, what is this all about? Why is it forbidden, and what knowledge are they actually withholding or sharing?
So Forbidden Knowledge is a TV streaming platform, basically pressing and pushing truth and awareness and everything esoteric wisdom, spirituality, everything that the company is about. I really, really deeply believe in ancient truths, So the CEO and founder is named Billy Carson, and he's a researcher and a scientist. He's, traveled all over the world 1 million times and really gone to these ancient sites. And so he has these truths from these places. And so it's a lot about real history, real history beyond what we're conditioned to believe, which is also where I kind of come in. I brought the biohacking aspect in there, and basically health and wellness. Mental health is big. So, all of the TV shows really, really wrap around all of those things, financial literacy as well. Basically trying to help raise and elevate people's awareness and consciousness so we can make good change on this planet. Because if you see what's manifesting right now on a day-to-day basis on this planet, it's not healthy. It's really not healthy. We need to take our power back and realize that we need to make massive change, or we're going to be heading into, 6X, mass extinction. I mean, we're killing the earth. We're killing the oceans. We're killing each other. Yeah. What are we doing? Why are we doing these things? It does not need to be like this, at all. So that the company that I'm with now basically pushes that agenda forward to really try to raise people's consciousness to realize that we have the power, and we have the power to change things positively and make things better. So
Yeah.
there's not this crazy stuff happening all over the place and manifesting like wars, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, we're in the 20th century and we're doing wars still. I just can't believe it. I can't. So
Same cycle.
yeah.
So I know, right? But for those who may not know, you made a comment earlier that you don't watch the news. So, question is, what's the difference between the news that we see on CNN and Fox and all that versus the news and the information on forbidden knowledge?
So, so the news from media basically is very negative, and it's basically letting you know what they want you to know. It's not necessarily the truth ever. It's really just what they want to put out there. So it's controlled, very, very controlled. So the stuff that Forbidden Knowledge puts out there is stuff that's behind all of that media. That's the truth behind what they're speaking about. So it gets a little bit into deeper truths, I would say. And then more positive stuff. I mean, it's not always covering who got shot today. It's just it's too much negativity out there. I can't deal with it. I don't want to put that into my consciousness. If someone sits around and watches the news all day, they're filling their bodies up with trauma, period. And it's not good for the body, so or the mind or the spirit, none of it.
And think about the pandemic, right? Think about when this pandemic first hit and what we were told to do. We were told to watch the news,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Stay inside,
yeah,
right? And basically worry. So people are just staying home, drinking alcohol and
yeah.
watching the news,
Hmm.
right? So it's just fear and worry, and
Yeah,
that's lowering your immune system.
absolutely, absolutely, it
And
does.
we're not told to go outside to get some vitamin D. We're
Yeah,
not told that all that liquor, you're feeling good in the moment, but what about health? What about vitamins? What about fruits and veggies? What about herbs and healing? Or
yeah,
ain't none of that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they were talking a lot about preventative measures instead of, productive measures, things that you can do to healthy, make your immune system stronger. Like vitamin D is necessary for your immune system. I
Hmm.
mean, these things, it was a little backwards. When you're stuck at home and everything is shut, right? You're not supposed to go nowhere, and people are cleaning left and right, bleach everywhere. Those fumes, it's a neurotoxin. I mean, a lot of people have got sick over that just because they've had zero immune system by the time they sterilize their entire house, are living in such a sterile environment. I mean, we need resistance. We need bacteria and viruses. We swallow thousands of viruses and bacteria a day, hundreds of thousands. I don't know, maybe even millions.
Hmm.
Our immune systems can fight these things off. That's what we're built as. I mean, we're these bodies, these meat suits, they're so intelligent. I mean, they are beyond intelligent. I mean, I'm taking a microbiology class at Harvard right now, and I'm finding out so much about our cellular makeup. We are amazing, amazing.
Yes.
So let's take our amazing suits, right? And let's get up to our suits level of consciousness. Let's start acting as intelligent as we really are made of, as we really are. So it's amazing what the body can do.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. The body was designed to heal itself. The body,
Yeah.
the body
Yes.
is strong.
Yes.
But we burden the body with our stress, with our fear, with our medication, with
Yeah. Yeah.
fast food. And I say this all the time, and probably my clients are tired of me saying this, but guess what? Too damn bad.
Mhm.
Um, we were brainwashed, right, to as a form of celebration, right? The way that we were taught to celebrate if you got that promotion or your anniversary or whatever it is, we were taught to celebrate by poisoning the body.
Yeah. Right.
Period.
Conditioning.
Right?
Yeah.
You get that promotion, or it's your birthday, right?
Right.
You're
Right.
going out to dinner,
Yeah.
right? And you're popping bottles, right? Celebration, or you're eating the fatty food, saturated fat, and you're having the birthday cake and all of that, and you're smoking the cigars and just all this. We were taught how you celebrate your goals and your accomplishments is to poison the body. And if you're eating healthy, why are you doing that? You're not living. You're supposed to have fun. You only live once. You're supposed to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're just extreme. This is how we celebrate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we got it
Yeah.
backwards. But
It really is crazy to me. Someone told me before, just eat this dessert. Just do it. Live a little bit. It's like, I don't want to do that. I eat dessert when I feel like eating dessert. I don't listen. I am not too far one way or the other. I have my nails done. Super toxic. Okay. There's a balance to everything. There is a balance to everything. But it's don't judge the lifestyle that I choose to live. You know, don't tell me. A lot of people just project what they feel like that you should do. You know, they project that onto you. But it's really, we're our own individual people with our own
absolutely.
individual personalities and experiences, and you know, we're pieces of the whole. So it's just, you know, come from a place of no judgment when dealing with others, because everybody has their own story. You know, everybody has their own goals and beliefs and everything. I don't tell anybody to act or believe in anything. I always tell people, do your own research. Don't even listen to me. Do your research. Do your research.
Yes.
Figure it out for yourself, you know.
Yes. And you know, unfortunately, that word research,
Yeah, that
it's it's
was
I did
Google.
research. I spoke to like 3 of my friends,
Yeah, right.
and I've
And what I saw
concluded
them
that.
on Instagram. Yeah,
Saying,
yeah, funny.
no, it's a little more than just. Or you know how we say that phrase, like, yeah, like everybody hates that, or like, you know, like everybody's saying this, and it's like you're saying everybody. You spoke to 3 people, like 3 people who
Right,
you know
right.
told you
Yeah,
their opinion, and in
yeah.
aligned with that, but that's not everybody. It's not. So yeah, but
Yeah.
we could have this conversation for hours because it's so much of this in this world, unfortunately.
Yeah. Mhm.
In your book, do you dive into, so you spoke about no judgment and then not having judgment. Um, do you speak about the, as we spoke about the, let's say this, the myths or like the agendas or like the smoke and mirrors or
Of the people controlling everything.
yeah.
That's more forbidden knowledge content. I honestly try to stay away. You know, my Instagram page got deleted. I talk about your lymphatic system. They're really messy with me. I just I try to stay away from the real deep conspiracy stuff. I have
Right.
my own belief system. I really do. I talk about it a lot on our social media platform, Unite the 99, which is a free, censorship free platform. I speak my truths there. But other than that, I try not to get too far into, you know, anything too conspiracy or just too new for people to hear, because I want people to hear my message. And my message is really heal your trauma, heal yourself, and
Yeah.
become a better person. That's how you heal the world. You heal yourself. So I want to stick to that message, and I don't want to get too far off of it. But I do have definite belief systems about what is going on in the world today. Absolutely. But I don't really like to feed into it. It brings a lot of negativity. You know, I was talking a lot on Facebook over the pandemic and some stuff that I was not agreeing with during the pandemic. And it just, I realized it brought a lot of negativity, and people were just attacking me. And I don't really want to deal with that type of attack. I deal with my own type of attacks right now. So I really just stay in my own little lane over here in the biohacking world and stay away from all the crazy, other
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally get it. There are several on social media. There are several posts that I'll like and that I share with certain people. Like, hey,
stuff. Hmm.
this. But I agree, there are certain things that I won't post just because
Oh, they're
that
going.
is not my brand. That's
Yeah. It's not. I have an agenda and a goal with an intention with what I'm trying to put out there. And that's really specifically heal your trauma, heal yourself, and heal the world by healing yourself. That's it. I don't want to get too far off, because people really only have a very small window of focus anyways. So I really just want to, because when you do that, when you heal your trauma, when you heal yourself and you become conscious and a better person, you'll see the truth. You'll see it. No, you won't have to hear or listen to anybody talk about anything anymore. You'll see it for yourself,
yeah,
and you'll come to your own conclusion. So
yeah,
I don't really have to speak on it at all. That's for them to do.
yeah. I love that. So, Elizabeth, do you know what time it is?
It's time. What do you mean? It's my time. I don't know. No, what time is
You
it?
don't know what time it is?
I mean, it's 6:30, but
It is color time.
oh.
Color time. Color time. All right. This is color time. If you were live, you would see the chat blowing up with all the people writing. Oh, color time. So this is color time. This is the
Okay.
portion of the podcast
Uh-huh.
where I, the host, will say these random colors, and you, my guest, will share whatever that color means to you currently.
Okay.
So there is no right or wrong answer. It can be logical, it can be spiritual, it can be long winded, it can be short, it can be funny, for it's whatever you see for that color at this current time.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Hey, this is where the guests either soar or they sink. So, see. All right. Color number one. Let's start nice. Start nice. Color number one. Let's go with sterling silver.
Oh man, sterling silver. Well, I love sterling silver. It's very, very shiny. I really like shiny things. Sterling silver maybe represents cleanliness, modern, contemporary to me. Our actual logo, Forbidden Knowledge TV logo, is a sterling silver with a little, flash of silvery shine to it. So it reminds me of Forbidden Knowledge TV, actually.
There we go. All right. Good. That was easy enough. Color number two. Let's go with atomic orange.
Atomic orange. Okay. Loud. Attention grabbing.
Mm.
Warm. Atomic orange. Fiery. That's, yeah, fiery. Like your logo.
Hey. Yes. All right. Good. Color number three. Let's go with light bulb yellow.
Light bulb yellow. Not the prettiest color. I don't really like it. I don't know, yellow is not really my color like that. And when you said light bulb color, it makes me think of LEDs, which are actually not that great for your circadian rhythm after it hits after the sun goes down. You're really not supposed to have light bulbs with the toxic light in your eyes. So my house actually has red tinted light bulbs that I put on after 6 p.m. because then it doesn't mess your circadian rhythm up and you can get into these nice deep states of sleep. So it reminded me of some nerd stuff there, but yeah.
Yeah. Side note, I know a couple people who battle with insomnia, right?
Mm.
And they'll say, "Yeah, I struggle sleeping," and I usually ask them, "What does your bedroom look like? Do you have the TV on? Do you have all the Wi-Fi connections and all this
Mhm.
stuff going on, or is it actually is the atmosphere actually soothing?"
Yeah.
And usually their phone is like right there, their their laptop is right there, and they have so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's like, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe just move that away a little bit. So anyway, all right,
No, insomnia is there could be a lot of reasons for people's insomnia. I used to have it
absolutely,
really bad, really, really bad. So I get it. I get it.
absolutely,
Lots of reasons though.
yeah.
Mhm.
Color number 4. Let's go with midnight black.
Oh, I love it. Anything black. Black is my favorite color. Is I just I love black. Black is everything. I wear a lot of black. My hair is black. I love black. It's the easiest thing to wear. Literally, I wear probably 90% black. So
Mm,
black is awesome. It's great.
mm, okay, we got 2 more colors. Doing good
Okay.
so far. Let's go with hardwood brown.
Hardwood brown. I like hardwood brown because I love wood. I just love trees and plants. They have their own consciousness. I really connect to them. So that wood makes me happy. I don't know. It also makes me sad that we killed trees, but for that beautiful wood. But yeah, wood makes me happy. Mhm.
So are you a tree hugger?
I am a tree hugger. I'm definitely a tree hugger. I love to hug trees. I love hiking. I'm an outdoorsy person. I know I don't probably look like an outdoorsy person, but I love being outside. I love camping. I love hiking. I love doing anything outside that involves strenuous action. So,
When's the last time that you hugged a tree?
oh man, probably, let's see here. Where's the last warm place I was in? I was in Florida. That was probably about 2 weeks ago, walking on the beach in Florida.
Oh, there we go.
I hugged
Hey,
the palm tree.
there we go. I don't think I've ever hugged a tree.
Oh, you should hug trees. They need love too.
I think I should.
You should. You definitely should.
I like to ground. I like to put my feet on the floor and on the sand and on the grass.
Necessary. Necessary. We were never don't I got a whole little thing about grounding. Get me started on grounding. I will go. Okay. It's one of my favorite biohacking techniques.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I want to get into that a little bit. Final final color though. Let's go with hmm, sky blue.
Sky blue reminds me of peace, calm, serenity, just calm and peace. That's what that color reminds me of. Sky blue. Because whenever I look into the sky and it's that beautiful blue color, it just brings me so much peace.
Indeed, indeed. So back to what we spoke of in the last color, grounding.
Yes.
What's grounding and why is it important?
So grounding. Grounding is not just I'm gonna ground myself. It is not that. A lot of people have that word twisted. Grounding slash earthing it's really a scientific phenomenon. So we were never supposed to be disconnected from the earth. And back in the late 1960s, early 1970s, they invented synthetic material and they slapped it on shoes, which in turn disconnected us from the earth, which disconnected us from the earth's surface that has an abundance of negative ions, electrons all over the earth's surface. And us as bioelectric beings, we need those electrons. We need them in our bodies. So if you look at a scale, a graph, and you look at sales of shoes going up like that since the 1970s, You can see diabetes going up just like that. You can see autoimmune disease going up just like that. Same scale, same graph. And you have to think about why. Why is this fact? So it's impossible to be chronically inflamed when you're grounded. Let me say that again. It is impossible to be chronically inflamed when you're grounded. And what is the basis of autoimmune disease? Inflammation.
Yeah.
What is the basis of diabetes? Inflammation. So when you're grounded, you cannot be chronically inflamed. Period. And so there are so many different health benefits to the actual phenomenon of going outside and sticking your bare feet on a conductive area of the earth's surface. Whereas, asphalt is not grounding. You can't stand on asphalt and be grounded. Honestly, dry sand is not good either. You won't be that grounded on dry sand. You need that moisture to be able to conduct the electrons into your system. One of the best ways to ground is go dive into the ocean, the saltwater ocean. Your whole body is grounded at that point. Or go outside after it's been raining and take a deep breath in. You're sucking up all those electrons. And think about your cells and think about a magnet, right? So a North Pole, South Pole is going to stick together, right? Think about your red blood cells. Your body and your red blood cells and your cells are sticking together. They don't have enough repellent. They don't have enough electrons covering the surface of the cell to be able to repel each other. So a lot of people are walking around with fluid that's not moving. It's not, very, very viscous. Their blood viscosity is so thick and they're full of inflammation because they're not grounded. They don't have enough electrons in their system, which is creating all of these different issues: inflammation, cytokine storms, which is basically like a fire in your body that grounding basically puts out for you. So, when I first grounded, I took the deepest breath I've ever taken in my life. I put it right here, and I have grounding on right now. I stay grounded all the time. These products here, they connect to the ground outlets in your home, and the ground outlets in your home are connected to a rod that actually goes deep into the earth's surface. So by hooking this up into the ground part of your outlet, you get these beautiful negative ions into your system, and it's stuck on with a patch. Let me see this patch right here. So this sticks on anywhere you want to put it. So right now I have it on the biggest lymph node in my body. And it's right at your solar plexus, basically. And this is where I first put a grounding patch on when I realized and discovered this beautiful, awesome healing mechanism. And I took the deepest breath I've ever taken. And since then, I have been grounding, and my sleep is way better. So if you have insomnia, grounding is amazing for that. So my sleep is better. It actually shifts you out of fight or flight, sympathetic. It brings you back into parasympathetic, rest and digest. It, brings your nervous system. It downregulates you. It also helps with wound healing and swelling, right? Swelling is only inflammation. Yeah. So when you ground, that swelling, those fluids actually have a chance to move and process through your body in the way that they're supposed to. So my son got bit by a spider, and he was walking around with this huge lump on his arm for a week at my mom's house. When he came home to me, I put a grounding patch right on that lump. And within 16 hours, it was completely gone. So I put a picture of that in my book, actually, to show everybody. This is one of the easiest things. It's free. If you want, which I would suggest, get you a bed sheet, get you a pillowcase, get some patches. You shouldn't ever be ungrounded anyways. So I would definitely get the stuff for it. But if you don't have to, you can go outside and put your hands in the dirt and put your feet in the dirt. Same thing. One of the best modalities out there, period.
And it just makes sense. Like, there is a gift and a curse with the technology. And I feel like as technology improves and we get things faster and faster information and we get all these tools, part of the downside is that we're hurting our bodies. So it's like this trade-off, right? Our computers are faster and our phones are faster and our food is faster. All these things are faster. Everything. But at what cost?
Right. Exactly. There's always a cost to things, always. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone right now is hearing this podcast and they are blown away right now, you are blowing their mind. They're like, oh my God, there's so much things that I need to stop, that I need to start doing, and maybe they're a little bit overwhelmed. To someone watching, what advice would you give them as say, yes, we're all different, we're all in different zones and different journeys, but overall, what would you say as a general first step someone can do on this journey of healing?
So I would say get my book. 'Cause I know.
There we go.
No, really,
Yeah.
I would really say that. Get my book. Honestly, it shows you a bunch of ways that you can just really get started. It has a bunch of little simple, easy techniques in there from, brushing your skin. I mean, little tiny things that you can do from the comfort of your own home today. I talk about in my book. But if you don't want to do that, I would suggest at least take 5 minutes every single day and just sit with yourself quiet, address your thoughts, disconnect from these things in here and realize what's going on with yourself. I mean, people are too busy these days to even sit alone with themselves. And you will never get to know yourself. You'll never live a conscious, intentional life if you don't learn to quiet all of this down and not listen to these thoughts in here. You're the observer of these things. So you start commanding what goes in here because this controls your action, right? So take control of these thoughts in here by sitting quietly at least 5 minutes a day. At least everybody has 5 minutes to really be able to sit with themselves, to disconnect from these negative thought patterns that we have, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And mentioning your book, where can they get your book?
So they can get my book on Amazon. It is available on Amazon. It's also available on my website, which is elisabethoekstra.com, or it's available on forbiddenknowledge.com as well, with the number 4. So those 3 platforms. Yes.
Awesome, man. Books are powerful. And in this theme rather of book authors, I books basically have changed my life. And unfortunately, I didn't get into reading books until in my 30s. I went all through school not really reading books, just kind of skimming through or using the cliff notes or like flirting with the girls in the class. Hey, let me get the homework, right? So it wasn't, but I used to buy books, right? In high school and college, and even in my late 20s, I would hear about powerful books and I would buy them. This is a powerful book, but I would never finish it. I would read the first chapter. Oh, this is amazing, and then put it down and all right. So it wasn't until my 30s that I actually said, I'm going to actually finish a book. Yeah. And whew, powerful. So books have radically changed my life. So I urge you all, get the book. Get the book. Stop basing your research off of just your friends and your circle and your YouTube and your coworkers and your Instagram and your TikTok. Yes, there is some truth there too, but it's more than that. And back in the day, before all this internet, we had books, we had life experience, right? And we had books. Yes. So get rooted in books, man. Her book could just radically change your life.
Yeah, it could, honestly. And I think it will. I've already gotten testimonials how it has. So I know that if you take some of the advice that I have laid out in the book, it will change your life. It will.
Absolutely. And again, you don't have to feel overwhelmed. Rome was not built in a day, a famous phrase. So start with one thing, right? Then add on a second thing. You don't have to look at your life and say, I'm not doing any of this. My life is in shambles. It's too much. Like, no. How do you eat a big plate of food? Yeah. You don't look at a big plate of food and say, it's too much for me to eat. I won't even eat. Oh,
right.
You dig in.
Right in time. Yep.
That's it. So, yeah, I love it. Again, I could talk to you for forever because there's just so much information that's out there, and we are both truth seekers. So that's
Mhm.
much appreciated rather.
Yes.
In in closing, two things. First thing is, if you are watching this podcast, this episode on YouTube, make sure you like this episode. Mm. Make sure you subscribe to the Blaze the Lion podcast. All right. Every week we have a guest, and we also have bonus episodes. Every month we have a theme. Some of our past themes have been things like doctors, and they were bringing you the truth. They weren't selling products, right, or
Mhm.
selling you a dream. They were speaking truth. We had vegan restaurants, vegan chefs. We had parents on here. We had school teachers on here. We had DJs. We had athletes. Right? Every single month, it's a new and exciting, thought-provoking theme. So I encourage you to get subscribed, to get plugged in to the podcast. Also, I have no choice here. I have to give a big shout to our sponsor, Star Child Social.
Mhm.
Do you have a business? Do you need direction? Are you looking for a logo? Maybe web design? Maybe just overall branding of your movement, of your company? Well, look no further. Go to Star Child Social and tell them that Blaze sent you. All right. That's the first part. Second part is, Elizabeth, in closing, for someone listening right now, maybe they are struggling, maybe they're in a dark season right now in their life. Maybe they just came out of a dark season. They just came out of a toxic relationship, or they just moved. It's so many people going through so many different things in their life right now. In closing, what do you have to say to those listening right now that could potentially radically change their life?
Well, I would tell people that trauma is not a life sentence, that if you've been through things or you're in a negative place, that is not going to last forever. And you can really work on yourself and do these different little things to really help elevate yourself. And honestly, I mean, I've been through all type of negative situations and dealt with all type of negative things that I didn't even think I could climb my way out of. But I can tell you, coming from where I'm at today, I used to be addicted to drugs and alcohol and drama and trauma, and I would just bring all of it onto me unconsciously. But today, after doing the healing work, after doing my shadow work, and really, really, really diving into all of the scary stuff that a lot of people are afraid to even go to, I am now creating the life that I want. I'm happier than any drug has ever made me. And I'm manifesting my best life literally on a daily basis, literally. And I do so easily and in flow. So it's possible. It's possible for anybody. It just takes maybe a little bit of extra help. And I talk about that in my book and my podcast. So, I mean, the information is there. You just have to take action and do the hard thing. On the other side of that hard thing, the grass is greener, I promise.
Mhm. Yes, and make sure you ground on that green grass.
Yes.
Indeed. Let's plug. How can they get in contact with you? How can they reach you? Share your platform, share your podcast, share all of that.
Yeah, so my podcast is called Biohack Your Best Life. So that's on all streaming podcast platforms and YouTube, on the Forbidden Knowledge YouTube channel. And let me see, social. My Instagram is Elisabeth, spelled with an S, I Hoekstra. That's Hoekstra. So that's my Instagram. And yeah, if you just search that, you can probably find me on everything else too.
There it is. There it is. Keep it simple. I love it. I love it. Again, Liz, I thank you so much for your expertise, for your transparency, right? For your story and sharing, man. We're all going through just different things in our lives and our seasons, but it's only a season, right? I just said nothing lasts forever, right? It's
Mm,
all a season, but we get to enjoy life
yeah.
if we're able to help each other, right? So able to shine light and able to serve. So again, thank you so much for being a part, for being a featured guest on the Blaze the Lion podcast.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. This here is our bonus episode 70, which will be also available on our streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so on and so forth. Thank you all again, for tuning in. And as I always say, peace and love.